Hello! Today I'm going to be doing a weekly spread in my Erin Condren vertical planner. This will be for this week, the 27th through the 2nd, so the 27th of August through the 2nd of September. This is the kit that I'll be using. It's going to be a Wild Summer Designs kit. Just so you can see, here's a close-up of all the full boxes. Here are some headers and sidebar stuff and your weekend banner. This is a mini kit, and I think this was a special release. Here are your check boxes, half boxes, icons, and then the last page in the mini kit is the beautiful bottom washi and then some extra washi strips. And then, so that was the mini kit, and the mini kit was inspired by the freebie. So with Wild Summer Designs, if you put in one of the PR girls' names, you can get one of their freebies. So this is Janine's. And so this mini kit was inspired by the artwork in this freebie. So I'm going to possibly use that. And then in the mini kit, because it was an exclusive mini kit, this deco came with it. And then these gold glitter headers were an add-on, and it's a very chunky glitter for this kit. So I'm feeling a little bit chatty today. I do have coffee. It's Monday morning. I have some things to talk about. I might fast forward and add some music to parts where I'm like laying down stickers, but for the most part, I'd like to try and talk through this one. If you hear any noise in the background, especially any like tapping noises or whining, that's just my dog. She's usually, when I film, she's either not in the room or she might be at my in-laws' house. But today I haven't taken her over yet to the in-laws, so she's just hanging out here, ready to go out. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with, so this week I've decided I'm also going to, because I'm going to be chatting and talking, I think I'm also going to try and make it as simple as possible by not adding any additional washi, and then also doing all the full boxes in the middle. All right, so we have some of the gold striping here. So I think I'm going to do the bottom washi here. So this past week, last week, has been very eventful, which is why I kind of felt like, oh, I'm in the mood to chat, because a lot of things have happened. So on Monday, things went fine. I think it was just like a normal day. On Tuesday, my husband was getting groceries from the store, and he was walking home. He got off the bus. We don't have a car. We just take public transportation. And so he was getting off the bus, and as he was getting off the bus not as he was getting off the bus, after he got off the bus, he was walking home, and the roads near where we live, they kind of suck, the roads and the sidewalks. So I don't know if he wasn't paying attention, or it was getting a little bit, it wasn't dark yet, because I had just gone out for a run. I think it was maybe he wasn't 100% focused and paying attention, or like he just misstepped, because that can totally, I think that could totally happen with the like living where we live. It's certainly possible to misstep. So basically he misstepped, he sprained his ankle really badly, and he was like in the parking lot of our condo. Like he called and he said, have you already gone out for a run? And I was like, yes, but I'm only 5 minutes out. And he said, okay, good, because I need you to go back and get the crutches. So we do have a pair of crutches because my husband is familiar with sprained ankles. And so we decided to, so I ran back and we got the crutches, and I picked up all the groceries and walked them in for him. And I think it was just super frustrating for him because like he was literally almost home, and then he he like spilled the groceries, which was just one bag, but I think it was kind of like, ugh, you know, can't believe I did that. And then the next morning, he still had a really sharp pain, so he in his ankle, and so he sprained his ankle before, and they've thought, and he's familiar with what the pain felt like, but he felt like this was a sharper pain. And I had the experience of when I was living in Korea, I had fallen, and what I had thought I had sprained my ankle, and so I didn't do anything for like pretty much close to a week. I didn't go and see a doctor, and then I was still having this like, you know, kind of intense pain. And so someone was like, you should go see a doctor because it might be a fracture. I ended up going to see a doctor, and it turns out I did have a hairline fracture in my ankle, which they had actually said that with my ankle when I ended up going, that if I had gone the night that I actually had fractured it, they might have actually fully broken the bone to reset it. But by the time I had gotten there, it had been like a week, and so my bones had already started to set. So they're just like, it looks okay. We will watch it, and you know, we'll let you know if we need to do surgery. So I sat for like 3 months, super, like not 3 months, but actually I think close to a month, like 2 months, super concerned that I wasn't, because I was also getting near the end of my time in Korea. Like I had planned to leave in, I think, June, and this happened in February, and so I was super worried that I wasn't going to be able to leave Korea and like go travel, which is what I had planned to do, because I was going to be stuck like with a bum ankle, bum foot. So luckily nothing bad happened of it. My ankle healed fine. It was a little bit weak for several years afterwards, but I mean, things are basically back to normal. It's been like 8 years, so it's not a new fracture for me. So anyway, we thought that because it was there was still like a sharp pain, that my husband should go to the doctor, because we didn't want it to be something like what had happened with me if it was actually a fracture. And he thought it might actually be a fracture because it was a pretty sharp pain. He went to the doctor, had it x-rayed. They said he just had a really bad sprain, which was lucky. I feel very fortunate and lucky that it was just a bad sprain. And so he basically just has to be on crutches. One of his coworkers has had leg surgery and had one of those like knee scooters that you use, like if your knee's in a cast, you can use it to be more like mobile. And so they brought it over Tuesday night, and it seemed like a really great like idea until we were thinking about it, and we're like, oh, in Boston, which is where he works and close to where we live, the roads suck. I mean, that's how he sprained his ankle. So he went ahead and he brought the scooter to work, because at the time the biggest concern was like, oh, is he going to be able to get on the train with it? He basically like face planted and like gave himself a black eye, trying to use this knee scooter. So apparently he saw the guy who gave him the knee scooter, because we lived pretty close to him, and they were talking on the train. When they both got off the train to go to work, my husband was like, had to take the elevator, and so was like a little bit behind. And so to try to catch up to the guy the coworker that he had been talking with, he tried to like zoom past him and fly by him, and then hit basically a raised part in the pavement, and then like busted his eye. So his eye's okay, but it was like bruised and swollen. Like he hit, it looks like he got a black eye. He scraped his head, he scraped his knee, and his arm, because he really went down hard on his left side. So he looks pretty beat up. My mother-in-law, we kind of held off letting her know. Like, we let her know that he had a sprain because that's fairly common. But we decided to hold off letting her, like, see what had happened to his face because he knew that she'd probably be, like, kind of freaked out. And I think she was a little bit because she was like, oh my God. And then I think she hit him and said, why did you do that? So, but that was my week. So basically this past week, I have been making sure that things around the house, like basically getting things for him around the house, because with a sprain, like after a couple days, your ankle starts to feel better, and then you're like, oh, I can put pressure on this and I can walk on it. Well, we're really trying to avoid that, because that plus not doing physical therapy, I think, is one of the reasons why he continues to sprain his ankles. Like this, he hasn't sprained his ankle recently, like in the last 3 years, but before that it used to be a yearly thing. So I think we're really trying to hoping to avoid that. And he might do some physical therapy afterwards to strengthen his ankle. Just depends. He was all excited about, like, my husband had kind of been sleeping poorly, and so he hadn't been exercising, he'd been sleeping poorly, and he was just kind of finally getting back onto a regular schedule. And I think that this really kind of just threw him off again, because like now he's not able to exercise, and yeah. So an eventful weekend, kind of sucks. But I think it was just more fortunate. Like, what we keep doing is trying to kind of look on the positive side of things. Like, yes, it's a setback that he's having to use crutches, but fortunately he's, just using crutches. He doesn't need to have like leg surgery. Like, it wasn't like a lot worse. It was just a sprain. It wasn't a lot worse. And then we're like super thankful. Like, when he fell, he bruised his head. And he actually scratched his glasses. But we're thankful that he didn't break his glasses, that there wasn't a rock, it didn't go into his eye, that his eyeball itself is not damaged. Like, I just think of what could have happened, and it kind of makes me a little bit thankful. So thankful that it didn't happen. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Okay, so I've used all the full boxes up. And for glitter headers, since there's 4 sets of glitter headers, I've used all 3 of them. I almost wonder if what do you think it'd look like to put the glitter headers down at the bottom? Would that be overkill? I feel like that might be overkill. This is a really bright gold glitter. All right, I'm going to put the checklist on top. I think what I found is that doing 3 or 4 checklists instead of a whole bunch of them, instead of all 6, has been a lot better for me. So I think I'm going to do that. Okay. So other than that, my week has been pretty uneventful for me personally. I've just been kind of trying to get back into the groove of getting things done. I've been doing a lot of reading. So last week was the Creating & Co. Let me see. Last week was the Creating & Co. Throwback, or not throwback, TBR Throwdown reading challenge. And it was a week-long challenge where you had to try and read. Basically, it was kind of a challenge to read all the stuff that you have on your TBR, or to read it some item to kind of decrease the amount of stuff you have on your TBR, your to be read list. And so I had tried to do that for several books. So when it comes to reading, this month I'm doing the Newt's Magical Readathon, which is basically, that totally didn't work. And I'm afraid I'm going to cut through everything. So I guess I'll just use scissors. So for the Newt's Readathon, which is a month-long readathon, kind of inspired by Harry Potter, I am trying to complete, at least get acceptable on some of the Newts. I'm kind of stuck with some of the second, so for the Newts, there's like 3 challenges per category. So basically, you have your Hogwarts category, your Hogwarts subject, and then you have to read 3 books, and they have to be in order. So once you read the first book of your choice that fulfills the first challenge, then you get an acceptable grade of acceptable. And then once you read the second book, then you get a grade of exceeds expectations, or I think or an E. And then once you read the third book within that category, then you get the outstanding, the O. However, you have to read them in order. You can't read the third book first. You have to read the first book first. So I'm getting stuck with some of my categories because I'm a little bit unmotivated to finish reading the books I've started for the ones that I've chosen, and it's too late to kind of go back and rearrange things. So I don't know. I've just started reading the book Meddling Kids. It's by Edgar Quintaro, I think is the name. And I'm super excited about it. I think it's a Cthulhu mythos book, and it takes the idea of like the Scooby-Doo, I forgot what the name of the gang is, but the Scooby-Doo gang, and, you know, kind of says like, what if they had grown up, and here they are 13 years later, so they're no longer teenagers, but then, you know, what if what they had investigated on their last mystery was actually something real? And so that's kind of where I'm like left at. And I'm super excited because I think that this is a Cthulhu mythos, because they've mentioned the Necro Omnicron, they've mentioned Arkham Asylum, they've mentioned, what else did they mention that was, they mentioned the, whatever the university is, that's in the Cthulhu mythos. So once I like kind of put the dots together and made that connection that that's what this was about, I was like super excited, because I'm only just recently kind of heard, or like I knew about the Cthulhu mythos from board games, but I had never really known like what it was exactly. So I and distracted because I'm trying to figure out what to do for my side box. So because I like heard of Cthulhu from like just kind of, you know, pop culture sci-fi stuff and board games, I was intrigued, but I've never actually like, I only recently I think got into the actual like storyline. Like I watched a video on, what's the guy's name? H.P. Lovecraft. And I thought it was just kind of like, I think he had an interesting life, I think, if I remember correctly. And then this idea of the Cthulhu mythos was just really interesting. And so I wanted to, so when I kind of made this connect, I wanted to read some of H.P. Lovecraft's work. But haven't gotten around to it yet because it's just, you know, on my endless TBR list. So the fact that this includes the Cthulhu mythos, I think is really cool. My understanding is that H.P. Lovecraft kind of allowed for the Cthulhu mythos to be used by other authors. Like the idea behind this was that he wanted the mythos to grow and kind of develop with different authors, and to kind of basically almost to like, I guess, make it a reality. I don't know. So he didn't like copyright it or whatever, you know, or make it unavailable or like make authors pay fees, I don't think, which is why it's so widely used as kind of this cult sci-fi universe or world. My understanding of the Cthulhu mythos is that there is a I don't know exactly what it is, but I know Cthulhu is one of like the old gods or the old greater gods, and so as part of the mythology, I think there's like either people who search out and try to bring Cthulhu and the greater gods to Earth and or into our world, and then there's like the book, which is like the Necronomicon, I think, which is like the kind of the book that releases things. And basically, as you kind of interact more with these creatures, you, I think, basically become crazy. You gain more knowledge, but you also become more insane, is the idea. And so I think a lot of the Cthulhu stories kind of focus on that idea of eventually people will go crazy. Okay, let me finish my sidebar. So I don't have any full boxes, but I do have this checklist with 6 on it. But I also have these. So I'm gonna take, so this is a kit by Wild Summer Designs. It's using the premium matte paper, which feels really nice. It's really smooth. The print quality is really nice. But one of the things I think that's come up, which I've heard is something that occurs in other premium matte papers as well. Like, it's not just Wild Summer Designs, although because I have more Wild Summer Design kits, like, this is what I've noticed, is that it does make it sometimes difficult to peel up the paper. So like with the Weekend's the first one that I've had real issues with, where it's like, it's almost like the backing sticks to the sticker. Okay, I think I kind of want to use all 3 of these. I mean, because why not? They all match. And so I'm gonna do one for Instagram, one for hand care, which I haven't been doing, and then one for medicine and water in the morning, to make sure I get that taken care of. And then I think I'm going to do a weekly box. This gold is so bright. Such a bright, it's almost like a gaudy, and I mean gaudy in like the best possible way, like a gaudy gold. Oh, what kind of header do I want? I think, so I've been doing work. I like the work, even though I don't end up doing Saturday and Sunday on this one. I like having it. So like I said, I just started a book. I'm trying to get through the Newts readathon. I think I would be happy if I got acceptable on all of my categories. But at this point, I'm just excited that I got to read a bunch of books. Like, I think some people I was reading on some of the Facebook groups, like the Creating and Co-Reading Club group, that people were just getting stressed out with the Newts, because it's trying to read so many books in so much time. And I think a lot of people, and I tend to fall into this too, so I'm not like blaming people or anything, but I think sometimes it's easy to fall into that, like, I want to try and read and complete everything. And in order to read and complete everything, you have to, like, in order to complete like every part of the challenge, it requires being like like reading like 30 books or something. And so I think a lot of people were getting stressed out because 30 books is a lot of books. And even like I think this month I will have read, by the end of this month I'm hoping to have read like 6, maybe 7 books. And like that is an extreme amount of books for me as well. Like I don't usually read much more than like, you know, 1 or 2 books a month. So for me to have read like 6 books last month and to read 6 or 7 books this month, that's a lot of books. And I'm excited that I've been able to do this and I've had the time to do it, but I can see how, wow, look how uneven this is. But I can see how stressful it would be to try and feel like you need to complete everything. All right, how can I straighten this? I'm just gonna put this gold at the bottom as even as possible. All right, we got some wonkiness going on there down at the bottom, but it's also like a light white marble, gray marble, so it's a little bit harder to tell, so not too bad. Okay, so here's how everything looks. Ta-da. All right, so here's how everything looks so far before I kind of put down everything that I need to do. I do want to start out by marking that let's see, how do I want to mark this? I really like bright colors, so I think I'm going to mark that. You know what? I'm going to mark it in this smaller one because I want to have the space. But Sunday, the 2nd, is my husband and my anniversary. So I want to mark that. I think I'm going to do a little bit of overlap. It is our 6th year anniversary that we have been married. We knew each other for 5 years before we got married. He proposed to me after 4 years, and then we spent roughly a year planning before we got married, and so now we've been married for 6 years. So we've been together for like 11 years. It's been kind of insane, but in a good way, like the best of insane and fun. All right, let's see. So I have things that I have planned for this week is just work. Sunday's the anniversary. That's all I have for planned like events, like things coming up. Not a whole lot going on this week either, other than I'll probably just be having to like make sure, like do a lot of like little random stuff. Let's see, for this week I have, let's see, what did I have planned? I think I wanted to put in, the only thing about this mini kit is there's not a whole lot of like small there's like half boxes, but not like mini boxes. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a lot of, I'm running into this, like, the sticker's cut. Oh, there it is, but it's a little bit difficult to peel up. All right, so today I'm going to be doing a lot of like filming and plan with me. So I'm going to be doing this filming. I'm also going to be filming the Hobonichi weeks. I'm going to be doing some editing and uploading and scheduled uploading. So I'm going to put that in. Let's see, Tuesday I'm going to do, I think Tuesday, let's see, what other quarter boxes do I have? I have these flags. I have these, oh, I had these 4 heart checklists. No, these that's fine. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm just gonna put half boxes all the way along the bottom because I think no matter what happens this week, I'm going to be doing something that needs a half box. I'm still looking and applying for jobs, so that's something that I know needs to get done, and that will be taking up a lot of my time. So I'll be using the half boxes for that if I'm not using it for like YouTube. I'm just gonna alternate with the marble. Okay, I think for Saturday and Sunday I am not gonna put half boxes in right now until I find out what my plans are, since I don't really have plans for Saturday, Sunday. I think Sunday my husband and I were gonna go to the North End in Boston. There's a restaurant there that we wanted to try out, but I'm not entirely sure, so I'm gonna leave that for right now. So last Saturday, or this past Saturday, I ran 5 miles, which is the longest that I've run since December. So in December, back in November, December of last year, I was training for the Disney half marathon in January. But then we got that like enormous blizzard that hit Boston right around like the weekend before the marathon and marathon weekend, and I didn't try to rebook the plane because by the time I realized I would need to rebook the plane tickets had been sold out. And so I basically ended up calling Disney and was like trying not to cry on the phone because I had worked so hard to run to get ready for this half marathon, and like running a Disney race has been a dream of mine since like high school, which is funny because I forgot about that dream when I was in Florida in college, which would have been like the best time to do it, but I like had fallen out of love with running. But in high school, I had a high school gym teacher who ran the Disney marathon. She came back and she showed us the medal and she told us a little bit about it. And I was like, I want to do this. So Friday is payday, so I'm going to mark that down. So it had always been kind of in the back of my mind of like, I want to do a Disney race, but I had never really kind of committed to it. And then 4 years ago, I told my husband that I wanted to run the Disney marathon. And he said, okay, so let's go ahead and train for it. So we signed up for the Disney marathon and then started training. I didn't realize that like training for a marathon is quite difficult. And I actually, now that I've had the opportunity to really practice and properly train for running longer distances, that I don't actually know if my body is set up to run a marathon. So in January, I was like, I'm ready to run this half marathon. Nothing's gonna stop me except for the stupid blizzard that's rolling through. So Disney was like super gracious in the sense that they said like, oh, we know that this is a huge thing that's like kept a lot of people from participating in the race. So we're going to Disney offered, I'm just going to move my stickers over because I don't like having extra sticker sheets if I can avoid it. So Disney said that they would, as long as I provided evidence that I was leaving from an airport that was affected by the blizzard, which I was because I was leaving from the Boston Logan Airport, that they said that they would reimburse because I had planned to go to Disney and like stay there for the weekend and like do Disney stuff, and they said they would reimburse me all of that, the hotel, the tickets, the dining that we were going to do. I also contacted Run Disney, which is the department that actually hosts the race, and they refunded me the cost of the race minus the fee to like the online web fee, which is understandable. So I was just like super thankful that even though I didn't get to run the race, I wasn't out like $3,000 or $2,000. So I got all that money back, which was I think is amazing. I would have loved to continue and like go anyway to Disney, and I almost did, but I was like, no, it's not even worth going to Disney if I'm not running, because that was the whole point. So I'm training. So after December, which is when I did I did like 13 miles or like 12 miles. That was in December. And then January, all the snow hit, and I didn't get to do any more running. Plus I was a little bit, I wouldn't say I was like depressed, but I was definitely like not happy. And so I've been getting back into running because I'm training for this half marathon in Florida in November, when it hopefully won't be snowing anywhere. I hope there's no blizzard in November in Boston. But they, so I've been training for that, and in order to train for that, I've had to do some longer running. And so I did a 5-mile run on Saturday, and that's the longest distance I've run since December, since the last training for the half. So I know I'm obviously have a lot more mileage to go before I'm going to be ready, but I am excited that this is like, that I've gotten this far again, because it was something that was very stressful for me at the time. All right, I'm back. So here's what I did. I ended up doing this off camera because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. But I went ahead and took this deco and I put it up along the top. And basically I just placed the deco down so that it was hanging off the edge of the paper, and then cut it, and then used the straight edge of the second half that was the remaining sticker and kind of lined it up. So this is actually only two and a half, this is only 3 stickers total that I've just kind of cut up and cut around. And then I took the rest of the 4-page mini kit and condensed it down into this page. These little things I know I'm going to use more as the week progresses and I fill things in. But this is how my week, oh, and then I have these 2 last deco here. So this is how my week looks so far without writing anything in. I will go ahead and write things in, and then I will bring you back. All right, so here's what I have done with everything written out. So I have the water in the morning, hand care, and Instagram. I've put in my list of things that I need to do today. I am going to be doing a lot of YouTube related stuff, so I just kind of did a very short, small checklist within this larger full box. I also wrote down what my other YouTube kind of scheduled videos are going to be, so I have an idea of what to expect for the rest of this week. And then I put in my workouts up here at the top, and I had mentioned that Saturday is a long run for me. I actually made a mistake. It's just a Nike Training Club workout, not a long run. Oh, and then the last thing here is my anniversary, which, let me see, I want to put in like a special anniversary sticker here. I totally, not that I forgot, but I forgot. I forgot to mark it. Let me rephrase that. I did not forget that it was the anniversary. How do I want to do, maybe, I don't get to use these Bubble Mon wedding stickers. Maybe I'll do that. No, because we're not getting married. We're already married. What else do I have? I'm looking through this to see what I have. Oh, this is, I could use one of these. Maybe I'll do this. I'm going to use this teeny. It's been a really long time since I've used a teeny. These look like me and my husband. I'm going to even use the little hearts. All right. And then because I have no space, 6 year. There, 6-year anniversary. So that's my spread for this week. I love how it turned out and I'm super excited. Like it's a really bright and almost like springy floral, but I feel like this floral is just really, really pretty for and a great way to celebrate my wedding anniversary week. So I'd love it if you would subscribe, like this video, and you know, I'll be, as you can see, I have more videos scheduled for the rest of this week. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments and in the next video. Bye!